So, for the first time this weekend, the stars aligned and I finally had the opportunity to join a Battlebit Remastered playtest. And goddamn mate, this game is well and truly on track to be a smash hit in the current FPS market the way things are going. And don't just take my word for it, this little old indie game has periodically had small limited time playtests. It's not even out full time yet, and those playtests only go ahead and consistently match the likes of Battlefield 2042 in player count sizes. So what gives? What makes Battlebit so special? How is it doing this? Well, g'day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we're going to be talking about why Battlebit Remastered is what gamers have been looking for as late, why it should be on your radar going forward, and when you can play it next. So, before I get into the nitty and the gritty here guys, I have to make one thing incredibly clear at the start. This game is bloody incredible. The gunplay, the progression, the variety of content on offer, the smoothness of the gameplay, the fun factor, the accessibility to the game, it's all fantastic. I'm going to get into all of this in a bit more detail here soon, but I make this the forefront of the video because, well, I know this game ain't exactly a looker. It's got a very basic visual design, and I know that some may look at a title like this and think it's another one of these cheap knockoff battle games that's aiming to mock the state of the franchise. I promise you, it's not that at all. This game, despite its visuals, is just as much a serious game as is, say, a Battlefield game. In fact, in light of recent ventures from the likes of the Battlefield series, this game is a more serious game than the Battlefield games have been as of late. It exists to bring awesome first-person shooter experiences to the forefront and is arguably one of the better, large-scale FPS games you can get your mitts on right now. So, it deserves your attention as a serious contender for your time in the market. And it all comes down to one overarching theme: function over form. Allow me to explain. I'm not one to hold grudges, ladies and gentlemen. It's tiresome, I like to move on and try not to sweat the small stuff wherever I can, you know? It keeps me sane. But there's no denying that the release of certain games, such as, say, Battlefield 2042, and the constant wondering of what if it didn't suck, follows me around like a bad smell almost daily. I think it's the same for a lot of people out there who are super keen on the next iteration of Battlefield. And in the wake, Battlebit, whether it be by pure coincidence or by design and good timing, seems to have worked that out, and that more so, there's a market to capitalize on there. You see guys, we've been long conditioned to be mighty careful of being caught up in the hype trains that big AAA games companies pump out nowadays. More often than not, we see these super hyped up trailers that feature either nostalgic moments or crazy audio tracks to support the visuals, press releases that follow up, and grand promises from the developers that talk of new and exciting features that all promise to reinvigorate the genre they perform in. Well, so to speak at least. Only for us to get to the release of the game in question and have a broken, buggy, incomplete, or fundamentally busted game that takes years upon years to get fixed, that is, if it ever gets fixed. A lot of games nowadays focus too much on these big box office features that attempt to reinvent the wheel, all the while paying no mind to the core user experience, and getting the basic gameplay loop to a strong stage that stands on its own without these need for box office features. What we have here, more often than not, is a focus on form over function. Make it look as pretty and as attractive as possible, and focus on the experience and functionality, the fun aspects, later. We can just patch those in later, right? Well, we see it all the time, hence the conditioning for us to be careful with these sorts of things. Then you have games like Battlebit Remastered, a game which has tossed form out the window with the intent of getting function right, which has done the game so much good. Sure, it's simple to look at, and it's not going to win any of the best visual awards at the Game Awards, but by making this decision, Battlebit developers have given themselves the room and the ability to focus on creating a good game. Not a good cinematic movie that you happen to be a character in and you have to battle with in order to get a good experience out of. No, a good game. Something where your input feels accurate, responsive, rewarding, and meaningful. Something where weapon handling is enjoyable to learn and use. Something where there is plenty of meaningful progression that keeps you busy trying out new things and playstyles. But most importantly, something that feels fun to play. And by choosing to focus on functionality over form, not only do you get a good experience, but you also get an experience available to a lot more people. You don't need a $2,500 computer to get a good experience here when it comes to performance. The graphics, or lack thereof, keep the door wide open for gamers running all kinds of rigs. And that's something I'm kind of fond of in the market that we play in right now. But anyway, this clear emphasis on function can be seen as soon as you get into the main menu. The options across the board in the settings menu is ripe with ways to make the game more accessible and more playable for you. There are, say, legacy features like a server browser. The lobbies stay together across matches, with you being able to vote on maps, game modes, and even the times of day that the maps are placed in for the next match that comes up. The servers are 60 Hz and reach 250 players in size. That to me is a technological feat worth highlighting. There are local servers even for Australia, which makes me one happy camper. Before you even get into the game and fire your first shot, there's so much good happening here. But once you do get into the game, you then come across everything you expect to see from a fully fleshed out AAA development studio. There's multiple classes, all with different weaponry, gadgets, and cosmetic options. There are a ton of both primary and secondary weapons available, with a complementary sleuth of attachments that change the characteristics of your weapons in meaningful ways, and even affect your mobility depending on weapon weight. There's a great core gunplay that rewards skill via bursting and recoil control. The movement is grounded yet responsive. There's destruction on all of the maps that you can use and abuse to get some hilariously good flanks out there. There's vehicles, even if I saw them very rarely in my time in the playtest, as most votes went to infantry only gameplay. There's a reviving mechanic and even a dragging mechanic that lets you pull downed squad mates to safety to get a safe revive. There is VoIP in the game that lets you hear not just your squad mates but also your allies and even your enemies in proximity chat at times. I've yet to work out the full extent of how often you can hear enemies in VoIP chat, but whenever you get a kill on someone, I've noticed you can hear them screaming on the way down if you're close enough, which just adds to the humor and just the fun of the game as well. The fact that all of this comes from a game like this astounds me, and I am so very happy for its existence. Now, I want to quickly temper some expectations here and state that this game is still a work in progress and is only available to play at limited times for developer-run playtests, while they still develop the game and hone in on some of the technical issues to ensure a smooth release. However, if you want to stay updated as to when you are able to play the game, I would recommend following the developers on their Twitter account. They are pretty communicative on that Twitter account, and they give you a good idea as to when these playtests are going to head. The next one is going ahead this coming weekend on July 2nd at 10:30 a.m. GMT. That's 6:30 a.m. ET for my American folks and 8:30 p.m. AEST for my fellow Aussies. We'll be streaming it right here on YouTube as well, so get subscribed if you aren't already if you want to stay up to date on that stream. But you can also add the game to your Steam library now and download it so that, you're ready to go as soon as the playtests are ready to go, minus a couple of updates, but the updates for this game, due to its, low poly graphics decisions, are pretty small in general, so that's easy and accessible as well. Anyway, the whole point of this video, ladies and gentlemen, is just to celebrate what Battlebit has accomplished here and the focus on function over form. It's something that I really do miss seeing in a lot of games that we get out there nowadays, so that when we see a game like this come to the forefront, and more importantly, get the attention it deserves. Once again, these Steam player count charts don't lie, this game is getting attention and it's proving that gamers are interested in not just how pretty a game is, but in the core experience that surrounds that game. Anyway, the point being, it's something I like to highlight. What I see here is a small team of highly passionate developers that are here just to create a good experience for fellow gamers out there. At the end of the day, I hope the Battlebit developers can continue to push the game in the right direction and, better yet, expand on their team to further expand what this game has to offer and where they can take it in the long run. I don't necessarily know what their long-term plans are with this game, and as to whether or not they plan on expanding on it after we get past the full release. But all I can say is that if the developers choose to follow this path and they keep executing the way that they have been, Battlebit has a bright future, and I hope to be right here covering it and that success as time goes on. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to backhand the like button. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on Battlebit. Is this a game you're going to be interested in picking up in the future? Do you think it tickles that fancy for gameplay, or is it just not pretty enough for you? Leave some thoughts down below. Subscribe if you aren't already so it keeps you up to date with whenever we go live in the future. It's going to be great to see you guys at some of the streams going forward. And as always, check out our Discord and other social medias linked down below, guys. It'd be great to see some of you there too. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.